When we realize that every wound, every painful moment is an opportunity for growth, we no longer fear the challenges of life. Instead, we learn to view and embrace them with gratitude, transforming every tear into a defining moment on the path toward freedom and enlightenment. Through this process of facing and accepting suffering, we not only cultivate resilience, but also discover an inner light that makes life fuller and more meaningful. This is not just a philosophy of a religion or a system of thought, but a timeless lesson of life that each of us needs to remember. Living a life without avoiding suffering, but instead building inner strength to face challenges, is the true path to lasting happiness. When we pay attention to life's bitter experiences, we come to realize that they are not enemies to be avoided, but precious seeds that help us nurture resilience and courage. As the Buddha taught, recognizing that suffering is an inevitable part of life not only frees us from illusions of eternal happiness, but also opens the door to spiritual maturity. Instead of enduring suffering passively or trying to ignore it, we should turn inward, where every challenge is an opportunity to refine ourselves. A profound example of this perspective can be found in a story from the Buddha's life. One day, as he and his disciples walked through a region suffering from a prolonged famine, the people were weak and many had died due to starvation. The air was filled with despair. Out of compassion and fear for their health, the disciples urged the Buddha to leave the area quickly to avoid any danger to their safety. But the Buddha smiled and said, "It is exactly where there is suffering that we must be present. If we turn away from suffering, our compassion will be nothing but empty words." Thus he stayed with the villagers. While he could not perform miracles to conjure food, he sat with them, listening to their stories, teaching them meditation to calm their minds and bodies, helping them unite and share what little they had, and most importantly, giving them hope. The miracle, if any, was that from his presence and mindfulness, the villagers began to rebuild their community from their own inner strength and trust. This story powerfully demonstrates that it is when we dare to face suffering with an open heart, with our full presence, that true compassion can arise. This compassion is not a weak pity, but absolute strength. The strength to step into the darkness and carry with us the light of our own heart. And this is exactly what each of us can do in our daily lives. When we witness others in suffering, or when we ourselves fall into misfortune, instead of avoiding it, we can try to stay quietly, peacefully, and with mindfulness. Because sometimes simply being fully present can be the most profound act of compassion. Moreover, the teachings of Thich Nhat Hanh further affirm this. We cannot bypass suffering. Only by being in the midst of suffering can we cultivate compassion, patience, and self-mastery. This shows that developing resilience requires us to confront challenges directly, turning the wounds of the past into the strength to overcome the present and build a better future. In fact, it has been proven that those who accept suffering, rather than running from it, tend to find the deeper value in life. Like the lotus that blooms from the muddy waters, suffering, when faced and accepted, becomes the inspiration that nurtures our spirit, driving us to keep moving forward. Through this process, life is no longer a series of battles against adversity, but a journey of exploration, learning, and deeper self-understanding. Thus, developing resilience, rather than avoiding suffering, is the key to opening the door to a meaningful life. where we not only find inner peace but also become a source of inspiration for others. Through each step of our growth, we come to realize that every pain carries a lesson, and only when we learn to embrace every emotion, whether joy or sorrow, can we truly live freely and fully. In our journey of facing hardships and pain, we slowly discover that within those very challenges lies boundless strength to transform our lives. Suffering is not the end of all hope. It is the springboard that brings us closer to profound understanding and genuine compassion. Only by empathizing with the losses and challenges that break our hearts can we cultivate the courage, gratitude, and steadfastness to overcome any adversity. Through each piece of the story, from the Buddha's quiet footsteps in the land of famine to the complete presence of souls brave enough to face pain, we learn that peace does not come from avoiding difficulties, but from the process of accepting and transforming them. It is only when we dare to witness our own pain and that of others that we discover the true meaning of life, a journey that is never perfect, but always opens new horizons for the soul. Like the light of dawn after a long night, suffering will make way for enlightenment if we know how to listen, perceive, and cherish each present moment. And in the darkest of nights, compassion and mindfulness will lead the way, igniting hope and turning every challenge into a valuable lesson, helping us grow and live more fully each day. In conclusion, life is not just a sequence of joyful moments, but also holds countless moments of suffering. Yet it is in those moments that we are refined, strengthened, and taught that no path to peace is free from trials. And when we learn to face ourselves, our hearts will open like a lotus blooming in the muddy waters, shining with deep spiritual values and a strong belief in life itself.